Hello guys, in today's video I will show you how to install Nextcloud on TrueNAS and obtain the SSL certificate from Let's Encrypt with the Surfbot. As you know, I actually make the tutorial on my website already. So if you don't like watching video and just want to follow the written tutorial, you can actually go on my website. Most people watching my video and don't actually subscribe to my channel, and that's okay. I'm happy to share my knowledge, but if you think the video is helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video with your friend if that's possible. And on my website, I do notice that a lot of my viewers are actually international from Germany, part of European Asia. So if you actually headed to my website, I actually include the Google translations. So you click on the flag of your country, it actually translated to your language. Obviously Google Translate is not that accurate, but at least it gives you an idea, and hopefully you can work it out. And with that, let's get started. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna install Nextcloud on TrueNAS. So we're gonna head over to TrueNAS, and we're gonna go to plugins, and I'm gonna select Nextcloud and select install. So for the geo name, you can name whatever you desire, but I want to call it NC for short for Nextcloud. And we have a few options here. You can do NAT, DHCP, or the most recommended way of using the static IP, which I'm about to do right now. Different options have a different pro and con. It's up to you how you want to use this, but just make sure that you know how to set them up. So I'm gonna assign the IP 10.413.42.435.250 for the IP address and the NASMAT. For my network at Flash 23. I'm not gonna assign IPv6 interface for this one. Keep in mind, if you do DHCP, dynamic IP can change over time, so make sure that you set DHCP reservations on your router. That ensure that every time your TrueNAS connected to the server, it will get the same IP address every time. And alright, we're gonna click accept. And this makes me happy when I see the Pi 38 Surfbot. So as you know, recently in early October, TrueNAS announced that they actually partner up with Nextcloud, and that probably helps the installation get a little bit twist. It's a lot better than initially, which doesn't have the HTTPS. Now with the Surfbot, I assume that they're gonna have a self-site certificate. Alright, so now that the installation finished, we're gonna close out this window. And if you expand the Nextcloud jails, does it have post install notes? This is where you get your default username and passwords. When you get on Nextcloud, first thing you should do is you should change at a minimum, change your admin passwords. Most of the time I actually change my admin users. I don't like to keep everything default settings. It's just not a good security practice. And to access Nextcloud portal, you can either copy the address here, or you can click on manage and advance, proceed to alright, so obviously it's better than the previous versions, which is only HTTP, but out of the box you already see that they have a self-site certificate issued by local TrueNAS. So at least you already have a certificate access to untrusted domain. If you do it on a virtual network, or if you run this off the ESXi, often in time the installation wrapped the wrong IP address, and they put that in the configuration .php files, so it's an easy fix. We're gonna go ahead and open up terminal. If you're on Windows, gonna be a command prompt, and we're gonna access the TrueNAS jail. All right, so it's gonna be // root at TrueNAS.sysadmin102.tech. Okay, and to access the Nextcloud jail, you're going to use the command iok console and nc for my jail name. All right, so now I'm logged in, I'm going to head back to my website. And I'm gonna edit the config.php file to edit the trusted domain. Actually, I'm gonna make the font a little bit bigger so it's easier for you to see. Let's make it 30. All right, a lot bigger now. All right, and we're gonna navigate down toward the end of the file using the down arrow key. And as you see right here, this block right here is a trusted domain. So I'm gonna edit this one and change it to 10.13.2.4250, which is the IP address that I assigned to my Nextcloud. And I'm gonna add a second one, same format. I'm gonna add the FQDN, a fully qualified domain name, in here. Don't forget the comma at the end. If you forget the comma at the end, it's gonna mess up the configuration file and you're not gonna be able to access the web server. And Easy Editor or EE Editor, quick the editor, go back to the main menu, you click on the ESC key and you'll click on A to delete the editor and A again to save all the changes. All right, so now we should be able to access the web server or the Nextcloud login portal. There we go. Next, we're gonna install the Certbot NG-INX plugin. So in order to do that, we have to do port snap fetch, and then we have to extract the snapshot. So this can take a while, so you can go ahead and grab a cup of coffee or not and come back later. And if Nextcloud or TrueNAS watching this video, whoever maintained this official plugin, I hope that in the next update they actually included the NG-INX plugin for Certbot. That's gonna make life a lot easier. Okay, next step, we're gonna extract the snapshot by using the command port snap extract. This does take a long time. It can take between 15 up to 30 minutes. So you can sit back and relax. Alright, now that we extracted the snapshot, next step is we're going to change the directory to the pi dash certbot dash nginx. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this command right here. All right, and to install certbot nginx plugin, we're gonna use the command make install clean. Alright, so now that we have the certbot nginx plugin installed, the next step is to request the SSL certificate from Let's Encrypt. So I'm going to go back to my website, and the command we're going to use is the certbot nginx -d for domain, and you're going to put in your domain name in here or your DDNS. Alright, so for this case, it's gonna be certbot nginx -d for domain, and it's gonna be nc.sysadmin102.tech. Alright, since the first time you using a certbot, I'm going to ask you for the email address. So this email is the email that Let's Encrypt can notify you that the certificate is about to expire, and if the auto renewal is failed to renew the certificate, so you can go in there and manually renew the certificate before it expires. Okay, and you have to accept the term of service in order to use it. If you are willing to share your email address, you can select yes. If not, select N for no. Alright, so look like we have some connection issue. I'm gonna go ahead and check my firewall settings. So I'm gonna go ahead and head over to my pfSIM router. I'm gonna go over to firewall and net rule. So it might be a little bit different on your router, but make sure that you have a DDNS ready, up and running, and also that you set up port forwarding on your router. So the two ports you're gonna need for it to work at the port 80 and 443. So HTTP and HTTPS. So I'm gonna go ahead and add new rules. Interface is going to be WAN, and alright, I'm going to keep everything as default settings, and the destination is going to be HTTP. Going to redirect it to HTTP, and I only redirect it to the NetCloud's IP address only, so 10.1213.2.250. Yep. And you can name it NetCloud ADA PAD. Alright, and I'm gonna add one more. It's gonna be HTTPS or 443. Same thing, we're gonna forward to the single host 10.13.42.250, and gonna redirect it to HTTPS only. And we can name this NetCloud P443. All right. So if for PFSIN, if I add the NAT, it automatically create the rules. There we go. Allow port 80 and 443 to access to allow Nextcloud to have access to port 80 and 443 outside of the network. All right, I'm gonna go back to the terminal. I'm gonna run it one more time. All right, and it successfully deployed the certificate for nc.sysadmin102.text, and this is where the certificate, the key, it's saved as. It's in the same folders. It's just that the other one is for TrueNAS, and this one is nc.sysadmin102.text. We're not there yet. We still have to modify the configurations to change the patch to certificate and the key in the Nextcloud configuration files. So let me go back to my website. We can skip the renew portion. We can go back to that later. Alright, so we need to use the command EE again to edit the nginx config file. Go down and copy it. And I'm going to head down to the SSL certificate. Okay, so the SSL certificate right here. The only thing you really have to change is delete our TrueNAS and replace it with your domain name or your DDNS. So mine is going to be nc.sysadmin102.tech. All right, second line, same thing. And lastly, the root CA and immediate certificate. Gonna be nc.sysadmin102.tech. All right, gonna click on escape or ESC and select A or enter to leave editor, and select A or enter to save changes. Okay, so to make sure that all the configuration is correctly configured, you can do the command service nginx restart. And the nice thing about it is if there is a misconfigurations, it's gonna tell you what line number you have to look for under the configuration file. So you can go back and make corrections. Okay, and before we access the terminal and restart the servers, as of right now, you're still not going to be able to access the nc.admin sysadmin102.tech. It's too many redirect because every time you change the nginx config file, you have to restart the jail in order for it to take effect. So before we do that, we're gonna set up the certificate auto renewal before we restart the nginx. Okay, so in order to do that, we're gonna make sure that the renewal process is actually running correctly. Okay, I'll copy and paste this in the terminal. And now it's gonna simulating renewal of the certificate. If everything went smoothly, then we can start setting up the auto renewal. All right, so everything working, and it successfully renewed the certificate, simulating renewing the certificate. So next we're gonna set the cron job so that it's gonna renew the certificate automatically. So to do that, we're gonna open up the new cron tab by using the command cron tab.e. All right, you click on the I, that the insert mode. You're able to navigate through, go to the end of the renew certificate and hit enter. And then we're gonna copy the command right here. I'm gonna go back in here and paste it in there. And you hit escape toy to exit to quit the insert mode. And you can click on shift letter Z toys to access and save the file. Okay. All right, that's it. So now I'm going to go back to TrueNAS and restart the Nextcloud Jail. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and refresh the login portal. Okay, as you see, you're able to access Nextcloud login admin portal, and you click on the icon right here. Notice how it's no longer red because the certificate actually issued by Let Encrypt. There you go, issued by Let Encrypt. And just to make sure that I'm able to access this outside my network, I want to go ahead and connect to VPN. All right, and refresh again. Yep, I can connect Nextcloud outside my network now. And one more thing, before you actually start using it, make sure that you also follow one of my tutorials to set up the two-factor authentications to add another extra level of security to protect your Nextcloud. And if you think the tutorial helpful, don't forget to subscribe and like. And that's okay if you don't. I'm just happy to share my knowledge with you. And until the next tutorial, I'm Non from Sysadmin, and I'm signing out. See you in the next one. Bye bye.